Hi, my name is Dr. Randi B. I am a sports and family chiropractor in Houston, Texas, and this is my story to being diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. So I was actually diagnosed at the age of 16, but this was after 6 years of working to find out exactly what was going on. So when I throw it back, this was actually when I was around 10 years old, and I was in gymnastics, and I kept having like major shoulder flare-ups. Like my shoulder would hurt so bad, I couldn't lift it up. There's one time where my knee got really swollen, and I would go to sport doctor after sport doctor, and they all just told me that, oh, you're in a high impact sport, so that's what's going on. And we believed this. We thought that that was what it was. I was always prescribed naproxen, and so I would take that 2 times a day, and that was just what I did. Now, it wasn't until I had to walk away from gymnastics because I had 2 injuries during one of my most critical seasons, and I wasn't healing as fast as everyone else did, so it was about time to go ahead and step away from the sport. I decided to then do basketball and track, but while I was in basketball, I noticed that my fingers felt like they kept getting jammed, but when I would think about it, the ball was not jamming my fingers, I wasn't hurting my finger, and so it was just really, really weird, and we just didn't understand why it was happening. I then fast forward, and it got to the point where during basketball season, I was trying to turn a doorknob and I wasn't able to because my wrist was hurting so bad. And at that point, my mom was like, okay, we need to go ahead and actually see doctor after doctor until we find an answer. So that's exactly what we did. I actually went back to my hand surgeon because in one of my injuries in gymnastics was I broke my thumb. So I saw the hand surgeon then, and he's looking at me like, well, I don't know what's going on. But his wife happened to be in the room, and she actually said, oh yeah, at one point I had rheumatoid arthritis kind of as a kid, but it's not really a big deal now. So my mom just found interest in that, and only because, so my great-grandmother and one of my great-grandmother's daughters actually has rheumatoid arthritis. And so my mom was like, well, maybe we have a family history of it, so let's go to your pediatrician and get some blood work done. She took me to my pediatrician, and my pediatrician actually shut it down from the jump. She was like, no, it's not rheumatoid arthritis. But my mom was adamant. She's like, look, it has been many, many years of us trying to figure this out. Go ahead and just run the blood test. And if it's not, then it's not. But I want the test ran. So we actually had the blood test done. And lo and behold, it was rheumatoid arthritis. And so then I started my journey to seeing my pediatric rheumatologist and then transitioning into my adult rheumatologist. So once I started out, I have taken so many different medications, but I followed the same pattern of starting off with prednisone, transitioning into methotrexate. I have taken Enbrel, I've taken Kevzara, I've taken Humira. We had to find the right medication that helped to treat my specific condition. So when people ask me what medication works best for that person, I always say that it's not necessarily what I'm taking is going to help you, because each of us has a different protein that will actually spike or flare up our rheumatoid arthritis. So typically with mine, I would be on a biologic for about 3-ish or so years, and then it would stop working. So then I would have to transition to a new one. I now have most of my disease process is actually due to like my tendons, and the synovial sheaths will get really inflamed. And so that has led me to a different biologic that kind of helps to focus and target that specifically. So yeah, I've now been dealing with it for many years now, and it's been something that honestly I've had for so long that I don't even really remember life before it. I have always remembered that I've had joint pain, I've had fatigue. It's been something that I've dealt with. And so now that I've gotten into my adult years, I knew that I always wanted to be in the medical field, but I was just curious of what medical profession I would go into. And so that's then when I decided to choose chiropractic. And now I use the knowledge that I have from personally having rheumatoid arthritis, but also the knowledge that I was given during chiropractic school to help patients that are dealing with various autoimmune illnesses as well, and just that joint pain and stiffness and things that come along with it. And so yeah, that is my story to me finding out that my diagnosis was rheumatoid arthritis. A lot of people are surprised to find out that it took so long to be diagnosed, but now that I have the diagnosis, I'm really headstrong about making sure I keep my disease under control. And that's really because when you're having joint pain, you can equal that to joint damage. And that is why I'm so passionate about what I do now.